Okay, final news topic of the week. And John, you've been playing Bulletstorm VR. I'm assuming on MetaQuest, right?
Yeah, but
How
for
is it?
less than 2 hours, which is key because I am going to seek a refund for this.
Wow.
Uh, I am not happy with this version of Bulletstorm. I think they've completely messed it up. Uh, Basically, I love Bulletstorm. I think it's a fantastic game, and I had skepticism that it could be translated to VR, and the skepticism I think is warranted. Because in the end, I don't think it feels very good in VR. The way the camera moves, the way everything interacts and works, it all feels flimsy. In fact, it feels so flimsy that I kept like thinking like, did they? I was looking through information on the game. Did they like rebuild this in Unity or something? Because it doesn't feel like Bulletstorm anymore.
What, an Unreal game rebuilt in Unity?
That's
That'd
what
be
it feels. That's
hilarious.
genuinely what it feels like. I don't, not to knock Unity. I'm just saying it has that feeling of transplanting assets to some other engine, which by the way actually worked super well with the Resident Evil 4 VR release on the standalone
True.
headset. That felt awesome, and that was a different engine. But this one, so first of all, while it sometimes works on the Quest, at least they went with the sort of this asynchronous space warp to target a lower frame rate and reproject it up to a higher frame rate. But in this case, I don't think it works very well. Your weapon always has like a laser pointer, and just when you move an object near your face, you get that double image effect all over. They also don't completely stick the landing in terms of frame rate consistency, so the motion is not as, it's kind of juddery looking.
Hmm.
To avoid motion sickness, the movement of the characters feels very stiff, but it doesn't feel like Bulletstorm. And things like the way you interact, obviously like kicking enemies is a big part of it, the sliding, all of this stuff. Like when you kick, you just see like a boot just like appear in the middle of the screen and like do the kick animation then disappear. It feels really weird. The
Yeah.
sliding feels wrong. Like everything about just the experience feels completely weird. And then on top of that, all the game's cutscenes, which were previously real time, every cutscene has been redone as an FMV scene that you stand in the middle of like one of those, it's basically like a texture floor, and you watch a projection of the cutscene. And not only does that suck, but the actual video quality is horrendous. It looks so ugly. Uh, Resident Evil 4 actually takes this standing in the room approach for its cutscenes because they were not designed for VR, but these were done at the game frame rate in real time, and you were basically it's like you're watching it within a cinema.
Mm-mm.
Here they made this like really ugly, low quality videos that are incorrectly scaled, so they look super jagged and broken, and they don't play smoothly either. So it just kind of ruins that. Um,
Wow.
like everything about like the weapon scale and the scale of your hands, like the hands of your character feels like they're twice the size of a normal human hand, and the weapons themselves are like exceptionally bulbous, and they don't look or feel right. Everything about it just like I need to go look and actually compare, but it looks visually somehow worse than the 360 original
Okay.
Well,
version. Like
that's an interesting late UE3 title, ultra
so
late UE3
now
title.
at the same time, being UE3 does not really support VR
Hmm.
properly as far as I know, so they would have had to done something. Did they port it to UE4? Is it Unity? Is it something else? Did they shoehorn some kind of UE3 project into VR? For whatever they did, unlike many other VR releases I've played as of late, it does not feel good to play at all. And it's honestly, I after like 20 minutes, I had to just turn it off, and I closed it and immediately investigated with Google like how to refund MetaQuest games.
Right.
Because they're charging $40 for this thing, and I
Wow.
wasted
What?
$40 on this damn thing, and I will be getting that back.
Okay.
I so rarely would spend that kind of money on a digital game at all. But VR is like that's it is what it
That's
is.
space.
But that's highway robbery. Frankly. Now, to be fair, I think it's also coming to other platforms, and I'd be curious to see if it is more enjoyable on like say the PSVR 2. Like, is it a more competent game technically? Like to me, it almost feels like I'm just playing the Quest 2 version on the Quest 3 without any of the Quest 3 enhancements. It looks
Hmm.
much worse than your typical Quest 3 game. It runs worse. When you look at what other companies have been doing lately with the Quest, and then you look at this, it's like something went wrong. Is
I've only
how I
got one
feel.
question. John. This is a vintage 2011 Unreal Engine 3 game. But it saw the debut of Epic's light shaft / God Ray technology.
Oh, yes.
Does it have light shafts?
Does it have it?
I think it does.
Right. So it's a one-up over the PS3 version. Then.
Yeah, the PS3 version did not have the light shafts. I remember that.
God, PS3
That
was so
pretty
bad.
darn funny.
Like, even Halo 1 on the OG Xbox has this. Like, come on, PS3. Come on.
But yeah, I hope they fix this, because as it is, I think it's just not well done. It's definitely the least exciting VR thing to come out in a while. That's a shame, because Bulletstorm deserves better. But at the same time, I think just a lot of the energy of a game like this was actually tied around the camera work. The way the camera and the melee and like the first person view model worked within that game and how it connected with enemies. I think when you put this into VR and you take all that momentum and animation and everything kind of out, it just breaks the core feel of the game.
Right.
And that's the only thing I will say is that the laser whip thing actually feels good in VR, because you're like almost doing the Half-Life Alyx style thing, reaching out, except for it's projected from the laser whip. That looks cool. Everything else though, it's not good right now. So unless they drastically fix this, I would avoid.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I'm seeing this online. I'm watching it. I couldn't remember. Bulletstorm, you're right about it being attached to the camera. When you do the slide in the game, it actually changes the camera FOV to make it seem faster. There's a lot of things.
There's a lot of things with the FOV and lots of camera movement and tweaks, and all of it's gone. And it hurts.
Okay, well, that's a downer to end our news topics on for this week, John.
I know.
Thanks for that.
I know.
It's all
I'm
right.
sorry.
Good luck with the refund.
I know. I'm going to try.